My name is Nate, and I thought these albums were great. Hey friends, most of you probably know me from the video game songs that I've been writing. But before I ever even made a song about Waluigi or a piranha plant or Fortnite, I was actually a fan of music, and I still am. And I try and listen to as many albums as I can in any given year. And it's usually not as many as I would like to, but I have a top 10, and I wanted to share that with you before the year is over. At number 10 is Blood Orange, Negro, Swan. This is just like a really solid R&B record. It's very unassuming, and that's something I appreciate. Like, it doesn't show its hand at first listen. You kind of have to live with it, and you have to really dig into it. At least that was my experience. It's just really good. The instrumentals are gorgeous. The vocal deliveries are like really emotional and vulnerable and sensual even. And it's a really good listen. Number 9, SOPHIE, Oil of Every Pearl's Uninsides. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with SOPHIE or any of the PC music label, but the best way I can describe it is like future pop, but it's so overproduced that it almost becomes like genuine again. Like, it sounds so fake that it's real, and that probably sounds pretentious, but that's the best way I can describe it. But yeah, I just really enjoyed the way this record weaved together really saccharine pop hooks with this more industrial experimental sound. At number 8 is Saba, Care For Me. This is just a heartbreakingly personal album. It deals a lot with reflecting on adolescence and the grief that Saba has to deal with in the wake of his cousin and best friend's death, which I think was fairly recent. And yeah, it's just really deeply autobiographical lyrics. And it can get a bit monotonous. I think the beats, they all have kind of a very similar tinge to them, but I think it's the lyrics and really the stories that Saba's telling that elevate this thing for me. Number 7 is Janelle Monae's Dirty Computer. I've been a huge Janelle Monae fan since probably high school, I think, when the ArcAndroid came out, and I thought that was like one of the greatest records I've ever heard in my life. But I kind of grew off that like high concept sci-fi sort of stuff. Like, I used to be really into Coheed and Cambria. I don't know, that just doesn't like appeal to me anymore. So when Janelle Monae came through with this more personal, more autobiographical record with kind of a political twist, it really caught my attention, and I fell back in love with Janelle Monae. It was great. At number 6, we have Idles, Joy as an Act of Resistance, and this is just a really, really great political punk record. You won't find like many mind-blowing hot takes or like political points, but I don't think that's really what makes political music, especially punk music, great. Really, punk as a genre is all about like stripping back as many of the technical elements so that you can push forward the emotion. On this record, Idles really succeeds at tackling universal themes in a way that still feels like uniquely personal. For instance, the song Danny Nadelko is really a pro-immigration song through the lens of the lead singer's best friend being an immigrant. And that's the sort of thing that I really appreciated on this record. Even in like a song about self-love, there's still these really impassioned, shouty vocals that just like they're just shouting at you to love yourself. Like, he sounds angry the whole record, even when he's singing about like really positive things like, you know, be empathetic and show compassion, but he's shouting it at you, and it just makes it I don't know. I just really like it. All right, getting into the top 5, Mitski, Be the Cowboy. Mitski has this real knack for crafting simple, succinct narrative vignettes and kind of stripping a story back to its most minimal elements and then filling the void with just pure emotion. And the instrumentation on this thing is really great. These really dynamic, overdriven guitars paired with bright, punchy synths and like toe-tapping beats. And it was just really satisfying. It's another album that just really grew on me the more I listened to it. And each song is just so economic. Like, I think there's maybe 2 tracks that are over 3 minutes. Every song is like exactly the length it needs to be to convey the emotional arc and the conceptual arc that Mitski was going for, and that's just what I appreciate. Like, you could just tell that she's a master of the craft of songwriting, and Yeah, I'm a sucker for that. At number 4, we have Kids See Ghosts, the self-titled debut collaboration between Kid Cudi and Kanye West. And I've been a big fan of both of those artists for a long time, but both of them have disappointed me in different ways over their last several projects. So hearing them come together and making something like really incredible was a lot of fun. It's one of those albums that kind of just sounds like it's two old friends messing around in the studio. But then the more you listen to it, you realize like, yeah, that couldn't have happened. Like it's just so carefully constructed and there's so much attention to detail, especially compared to like some of Kanye's earlier output this summer, like Ye, which I did enjoy Ye, but like it was sloppy. And I thought Life of Pablo was sloppy. This album is not sloppy. It's like every little piece is just right where it needs to be. And again, like the Mitski record, well, this thing is even shorter than the Mitski record at 7 tracks, but there's just no fat. It's all killer, no filler. And from the first hook, from the opening track, Feel the Love, I just knew I was gonna love this thing. At number 3, we have Kero Bonito, Time and Place. They really took their signature squeaky clean pop sound and just dirtied it up with like noise pop and these experimental, like whacked out sounds. All these new influences come together to form this synthesis of like old and new. It's very nostalgic, but then there's this innovative edge to it. I think a lot of people were surprised, even people who didn't like them at all on their last release, who are really enjoying this record. And lyrically too, the lead singer Sarah is really introducing some conflict into these songs, where I think on their previous work it's been sort of like this imaginary dream world where everything is perfect all the time. And I didn't have a problem with that. I think there's value to like escapism. At the same time, it is nice to see them dealing with some more serious themes like death, aging, and regret. The lead singer, Sarah, is still relentlessly optimistic, but you're seeing the obstacles that she has to overcome to maintain that positivity. Because being an optimist is a lot harder than being a pessimist. And I think that's really an interesting kind of idea to explore. I don't see a lot of bands doing that. And kind of even addressing their previous work on stuff like Only Acting, where you kind of see Sarah coming to terms with the fact that maybe that like super clean, always happy attitude is a bit of a facade. If you like nursery rhyme pop music about multiverse theory, this is the album for you. My number 2 is Hop Along, Bark Your Head Off Dog. This record is a really interesting progression of the nimble indie rock sound that captured my attention on their last release, Painted Shut. There's more folk influence with more acoustic guitar driven tracks and violins and harps coming through on this thing. Just gorgeous string sounds. I really enjoyed the production on the last album, but it was very much like a punk sound, almost like a DIY punk sound. This record also introduces like a dancey element, like especially on the opener, How Simple. There's this sort of almost disco drum beat that's working together with the folk and the indie rock influences. And in terms of the lyrics and the lyrical themes on this thing, Hop Along has just such a great way of mixing specific imagery with more abstract ideas. It's almost like they give you half of the pieces to a jigsaw puzzle and you have to figure it out. And the pieces that you do have, if you can get them together, they're really gorgeous and detailed, but you still don't get the whole picture. I come away from a lot of their music feeling like I missed something, but that's like that's what keeps me coming back to it. And Frances Quinlan, the lead singer, she just has one of my favorite voices in indie rock. It's so dynamic in terms of volume and tone, that 1 second it could be like really abrasive, like sandpapery texture to it, and then all of a sudden she just like flips a switch and it's just really sweet, soft sound. And I think Hop Along is probably my favorite band out there right now. And definitely listen to this record, Bark Your Head Off Dog. Last but not least, my favorite record of 2018 is Noname's Room 25. It is so good. It is so good. I really loved Noname's last release, Telephone, but I just had this feeling that she could do more. And yeah, she could. She fucking could. It's called Room 25. the sounds on this thing are so varied. The lyrical themes are more mature, and she's really digging into both being more vulnerable personally and attacking more serious political problems. I just love Noname's flow and her delivery. It has this like optimistic bounce to it, even when tackling really heavy subjects. Noname just exudes this like unassuming self-confidence, and she kind of addresses her critics on the open herself with the few opening lines, and the last lines are just incredible, implying that men who have sex with her will become better at rapping. I've listened to this album probably like 24 times, and I probably need to listen to it like another like 200 to really understand all the lyrics. They just go by at like a mile a minute, especially on a song like Blaxploitation. There's just so many cultural references, and there's this abstract sense to it, but then also weaving very concrete stories, similar to like the Hop Along record. In my opinion, Noname is the best and most underrated rapper putting out music right now, and Room 25 was the best record of 2018. And that's it. Those were my favorite records. Go give them a listen. I think you'll all really enjoy it. If you liked this, if you like me talking more about the music that I personally enjoy, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe, and I'll do more content like this, more just like me talking. If you just want me to stick to songs, also give me a thumbs up. No, just give me a comment. I'm fine. If you don't like what I'm doing, just let me know. I can take the criticism. I love criticism. But yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys. At the beginning of this year, I had like fucking like 40 subscribers maybe, and it was mostly, I think, the Waluigi video, but just everything that I've been doing, and you guys have just been amazing. I know 3,000 might not seem like a lot of subscribers, but it's a lot for me. Especially, I've been putting out music for like since I started college, like 5 years. And this is the first time that I have people like actively listening, and it feels amazing. And I'm just so grateful for all you guys who like the second I put up a video, will comment on it and will watch it. And it feels really good. So thank you all so much for an amazing 2018. And I look forward to next year.